Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Free State MEC for Economic, Small Business Development and Tourism, as well as Environmental Affairs, Thabo Meeko, has accused the EFF of using people as guinea pigs to test its strength in the run-up to the 2024 elections, describing the planned shutdown as irresponsible. Where Meeko says the Free State government is working tirelessly to come up with some solutions, not only to reboot the economy, but also initiate some plans. Well, he joins us now to take this conversation further. Thank you so much for your time, MEC. You say tomorrow's national shutdown is merely a platform for the EFF to test its strength in the build-up to the 2024 elections. Talk to us about that.
Look, we made a point when we initiated to start the conversation with, in particular, the SMMEs in our province. And this is arising from the state of the province address in terms of the injunctions that the Premier says, let's set the province on a new growth path, and clearly the role of government into economic growth and development becomes very key, particularly in terms of its budget as a province of the Free State. Subsequent to that, we had a budget speech, which was very clear in terms of the resources required for us to be able to make this strategic intervention. And this is against the background. Like, look, the private sector has got an important role to play, but because of the dire situations of certain areas of our people in the province, government took a decision to undertake some of these strategic interventions. And clearly, the lifeblood of such programs is the participation of our people through the SMMEs, so that ultimately economic growth will benefit all our people and everybody else. So, arising from that, Premier convened the meeting because the provincial government were very worried that, look, we're arising from a history where COVID has imposed devastating effects on the economy. And you can imagine a small economy like this one of the Free State, small GDP contribution towards the national GDP, I mean, we're at 5%. The largest contributor province is around 34%. We are a small population, and you know that the national fiscal allocation to provinces is determined on the basis of the populations. And clearly our population is not growing. So it is against all odds in terms of what is it that we need to do moving forward, so that we can then radicalize our approach in ensuring that our economy grows, and then as it grows, it becomes loyal and biased towards the socio-economic challenges facing our province.
So how do you believe, if you'll allow me, MEC, how do you believe the EFF is using people as guinea pigs to test its strength ahead of the 2024 elections?
Look, we are taking a responsibility to engage our people, particularly SMMEs, to say, in as much as everybody has got a right to strike, it's a right contained and secured in the Constitution, but a call, in our view, of a national shutdown. A shutdown in our province will only tip in a crisis. Our people must not participate in that. In fact, this thing is not going to benefit them at all costs, and they've got to rise, play their role to defend democracy and to ensure that democracy is being deepened to work in their interest.
And what are some of your concerns ahead of tomorrow's national shutdown?
Look, surely if these things succeed, the hardest hit will be our people, particularly those who have taken a very difficult decision to become entrepreneurs, the hawkers, those who stand on the street looking for short-term employment or jobs, and many other people who are creatively engaged in economic activities for survival, and they certainly rely on people consuming their product on a daily basis. And that's why we're saying they've got to rise and defend their right to ensure that their right is not being interrupted. The economy is not going to be interrupted because we think that a peaceful march can be conducted without infringing on other people's rights. But the moment you call it a shutdown, you are impliedly saying that people's lives must be on hold. And we disagree as provincial government. And that's why we've engaged almost all critical sectors, including those in the economy, to say you've got to play a role, help us so that we protect the rights of our people, including the right to participate in the economy and to survive. Meanwhile, out of the State of the Province address, we've announced quite very important project which will intervene so that our people can be salvaged in the short term, in the medium term, and of course in terms of the long term. And have you engaged hawkers, for instance? I mean, you speak about engaging various sectors and perhaps worked out and formulated a plan ahead of tomorrow's shutdown, because in interacting with some hawkers, not specifically in the Free State, but they've spoken about their concerns and not being roped into the bigger plan in terms of protecting them ahead of the shutdown and ensuring that they can indeed, operate tomorrow.
Look, we're doing a difficult balancing here, so that in the process we don't infringe on the people's rights to protest when they are not happy. But at the same time, we're saying if such is peaceful and it doesn't disrupt the lives of the people, it is well and good. It shouldn't be a problem. But the undertones of the shutdown is what gets us worried. And that's why arousing out of the Premier's meeting, which brought on board very key stakeholders in the province, which are largely organized, we issued a statement because we were worried as a department that our people must not be hoodwinked into thinking that a shutdown will benefit them somehow. They've got to rise also and say we are not part and parcel of anything that seeks to undermine the government and our lives and our country and our daily struggles to survive as a people.
Do you think that perhaps the shutdown and the reasoning behind it and the thought that has been put in place, given the impact that the country is on, do you think that it's without substance and the EFF could have resorted to other means of ventilating?
Shutdown can never bring about any progressive resolution to any problem. At the national level, the government has undertook, extraordinary efforts and commitment to deal with the challenges of the energy crisis. As I said, State of the Province address from my province, Premier also indicated that as a province we've got to play a role, and projects have been indicated, and this is corroborated also through the financial allocation. So there is a problem that is existing. People have got a right, when this thing is affecting them somehow, to raise their views, but it should not take away our responsibility as citizens to ensure that whatever that we do is not intended to deepen the crisis, but it comes as efforts to help to solve a problem. Energy crisis is not the first problem that we've faced and that we're going to face as a country that is evolving somewhere, as a people who are clearly are building an unracial, non-sexist and democratic country. The issue is the resilience of us coming together and be able to confront all these challenges which will confront us. Extraordinary, unprecedented phenomenon of COVID-19. The people of South Africa united, collective efforts defeated this particular monster. Yes. Surely we can be able to do that with any other problem that confronts our people. Over a period of time, we've had a challenge of poverty and unemployment. And that is the crisis which we need to dedicate our energies and resources towards its resolution.
And on that, in playing a role as a government, what practical solutions has the Free State put into effect to boost the provincial economy and tackle poverty and unemployment?
Our budget runs, just to demonstrate, around 41 billion. 8 billion of it undertaken by different departments will be geared towards these interventions that we're talking about. And out of that money, it will be a totality of all departments which their roles are interconnected to ensure that we're able to achieve this impact, and this impact we're able to maximize it. And out of that, there are various mechanisms which differently we're seeking to adopt. For instance, we said value chain beneficiation should be upscaled as one mechanism. Charity starts at home. If Department of Education is building a school, we've got to ask very difficult questions. To what extent does this thing contribute towards the economy in the province? The multiplier effect. What are other sectors which are provoked by this particular development, and how we must bring them on board? Number two, we've got to ensure that this Molanyana budget we have as a province, because you would know that the DORA allocations are on the basis of the population size. And as I indicated, our population does not have prospect of growing at a rate that in 5, 10, 50 years will be at the highest level in terms of this fiscal allocation. So we have a problem, as we said. But we said, the Smolanyana that we have, let's ensure that it is spent in the province in order that government also play a role to increase economic activity, and we also increase our gross domestic product. It's over a period of 10 years. It has been decreasing at an increasing rate, and that becomes dangerous. But if economy grows, and then government assumes the responsibility of ensuring that everybody benefits, then you have a nice balance of ensuring that in 5 years, in 50 years, you'll be coming closer to defeating the monster of poverty and unemployment amongst our people, of course, including issues of transformation of the economy afterwards, which are very key. So these are just a part of the mechanisms that we're employing to ensure that in the immediate term we achieve impact.
Very well. Thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now. Thabo Meeko, Free State MEC for Economic, Small Business Development and Tourism, as well as Environmental Affairs in the Free State.